Alright, YouTube, welcome back to week 7 of NFL predictions. This one's coming in a little late, but we'll have it out before the games actually start. First off, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the Arizona Cardinals. They're both pretty bad teams, 2-4 and 1-5, but I think Denver's defense is to watch in this one with Von Miller, Bradley Chubb. You still got Chris Harris. I think they're going to get after Josh Rosen, make it a little difficult. They're going to contain David Johnson. Look for Denver to win something like 21-16. Next, we have the Titans taking on the Chargers. The Chargers have been pretty hot recently. They look like the team everyone thought they'd be coming into the season, and that's still without Joey Bosa being healthy. Tennessee's kind of floundered a little bit. They've lost a couple in a row. They're not quite the team that everyone hoped they would. They started off as a team no one expected to be, then they kind of floundered back to where they were expected. I like the Los Angeles Chargers in this one, 27-20. Next, we got a divisional battle with the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is another game that's kind of similar. Jacksonville has started to plummet a little bit. That defense looks completely unmotivated, and that offense is absolutely egregious. And Houston's starting to come up a little bit. Deshaun Watson's found his footing. DeAndre Hopkins is arguably a top 2 or 3 receiver in the league. I'm still going to go with Jacksonville, but not by a comfortable margin. Blake Bortles usually goes good, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. Well, he's had 2 bad in a row, so he's due for a decent one. So we'll go 21-24 Jacksonville. Next, we got the Eagles taking on the Panthers. The Eagles have been a little disappointing, and Panthers have been about what you would expect so far. They've already had their bye week, which I think is going to hurt them in the long run, but I think it actually helps them a little bit now. But I'm still going to take the Eagles to get after Cam Newton and Carson Wentz to make enough plays, because even though they're not winning a whole lot, Carson Wentz has had a fantastic season. It goes along the lines of 28-24. Next, we have the Vikings taking on the Jets. The Jets are coming off an impressive win over the Colts where they put up 42 points and forced 4 turnovers. And the Vikings are starting to find their groove a little bit too. They've won a few. I don't know. This is a tougher pick than I thought it would be, but I'm going to go with the Vikings just purely on how much more talented they are. And Kirk Cousins has had a really good season in spite of the fact that they were 3-2-1. So we'll say they make it to 4-2-1 by a score of 35-21. Next, we have the Patriots taking on the Bears. And if the Bears would have won last week against the Dolphins, I feel like this would have been such an amazing matchup. Granted, it still is, but that Chicago defense has looked absolutely menacing all year. And the Patriots offense the last 2 weeks has looked like a Patriots offense of old. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Matt Nagy of the Bears is going to drop just enough plays to get some points. I think Khalil Mack's going to get after it. I think the back end's going to let those guys catch the short passes, but they're actually going to make the tackles. They're not going to get shook and then give up an extra 10 yards after the catch. So let's go 28-21 Chicago. Next, we have the Bills taking on the Colts. The Bills have been about what you'd expect, and the Colts have been a little disappointing for me. I thought if they could have stayed healthy, they could be a contending team. They have not stayed healthy, and they look pretty bad. Andrew Luck's been fantastic. Darius Leonard's been really good. Other than that, it hasn't been a whole lot to write home around. Ebron leads the NFL in touchdowns. Who saw that coming? If Josh Allen was playing, I'd probably honestly favor the Bills by a close margin. But since Derek Anderson is stepping in, I think it's the Colts game to win, but I think it's going to be ugly because that defense is going to get after it. And that offensive line is still garbage. So let's go 24-17. Indy actually gets the win this week. Next, we have the Browns taking on the Buccaneers. But oh, how the mighty have fallen. Tampa Bay is now on a 3-game losing streak after starting Jameis Winston last week as well. And Cleveland, they've at least looked on the uptick, losing a close one to the Raiders. The Chargers were a buzzsaw they weren't ready for. Baker's looked pretty good for the most part, like a rookie quarterback. I'm actually going to go with the Browns in this one in an ugly affair, 17-13. I think their defense is going to get after, whether it's Fitzpatrick or Jameis Winston. It's going to be a long night for them. Next, we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Miami Dolphins. This one is kind of bleh. Detroit, I don't know what to think of them. They beat the poop out of New England, and they get smacked by the Jets. The Dolphins, they were on a roll. They play New England, then they fall back down to earth, and now they lost Tannehill. who's not playing for this week and might not even play next week. It's hard to pick against a team without their starting quarterback, and I think Detroit has enough firepower. Let's go 24 to 20 Miami. No, sorry, 24 to 20 Detroit. Next, we have the Saints taking on the Ravens, and this is a doozy. You got arguably the best offense versus arguably the best defense in the league this year. The Saints offense, minus that first, really didn't, even after that first game, they didn't look too bad. Minus that Browns game, they've looked outstanding. They're coming off an explosive performance against the Redskins. And the Ravens, they're kind of the same year in and year out. This time their offense is a little bit better than usual. I'm going to go with the Saints. I think they've caught their stride. I think Drew Brees is playing at an all-time great level right now. Let's go 33 to 27, New Orleans. Next, we got the Cowboys taking on the Redskins, and I was wrong about the Cowboys last week, but I did not expect them to have Conor McGregor in their corner. If he's in their corner this week, then I'm taking them in a landslide. But without him, I think the Redskins are going to get out. Their defense is going to cause some problems. This is tough because this Redskins team absolutely gets smacked by the Colts and the Saints, but they annihilate the Cardinals and the Packers. It's a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with the Redskins. I think they put up just enough points. I think that defense gets a few takeaways. 20 to 13. Next, we have the Rams taking on the 49ers. This one's pretty shut and dry. The Rams are the best team in the league, and San Francisco's beat up pillar to post. They don't have their quarterback. Shanahan's a great coach. He'll make it closer than it should be. I got the Rams 35 to 14, honestly. In the Sunday night game, we have the Bengals taking on the Chiefs. The Bengals, even though they've won some close games and they've lost some close games, they've just been a steady team the whole way through. The Chiefs, they've been even in that game against the Patriots, it's hard not to feel good about this Chiefs team. They could put up points with absolutely anyone, and they bend a lot, they break a lot, but they can make just enough plays. I really, really want to go with the Bengals on this one. This is the kind of game I think the Bengals step up in. But at the same time, this is the kind of game where I see Andy Dalton kind of shriveling a little bit. These big Sunday night games when it looks like the Bengals are a team to be reckoned with. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in an explosive affair, 35 to 28. Make it 35-31. Then Monday night, we got two slightly disappointing teams from the preseason, what we thought in the preseason. The Giants taking on the Falcons. The Giants have been in a lot of games, but they haven't been able to win. It seems like they fall way behind, then they come back, then they can't close the gap, then they let the other team pull away. The Falcons, their entire defense went on injured reserve week 1, and now they're just kind of coasting along. Devontae Freeman's hurt, and for whatever reason, they can't throw the ball to Julio in the end zone, or they just refuse. I don't get it. The man's a freak. Get him the ball in the red zone. Don't take him off the field. That being said, I think Atlanta's going to win 30 to 20. 30 to 28. This is a really close one. I think the Giants are going to stay in there. Saquon's going to stay in there. He's going to keep them in the game. He's going to control the clock. He's going to make those big explosive plays. Odell's going to Odell a little bit, and I think this is the week. For some reason, I don't know why they haven't yet, but they get Julio Jones the ball in the end zone. It's not that hard. He's a freak of nature. I digress. Atlanta 30, the Giants 28. All right, thanks for watching. Sorry this one's a little bit late compared to the other ones. I'll start to get it more on track the upcoming weeks.